Okay, welcome, and welcome to those who are going to be watching. It is, what is it, day 3 of week 3, double 3, and it's just going to be a slow Wednesday here, just trying to work through the code, work through our project, get a little more familiarity with Express, and um, also I thought I'm gonna intro Boris the Professor. Oh, here we go. Oh, let me share. Okay. So this is my app. I'm just calling it Boris the Professor for now. And what is this app all about? Well, so there's a lot of tutorials on the web, and they're you, if you want to learn something, you have to kind of search through them and find the right tutorial for you. Um, and at the same time, you have ChatGPT, but it's not really a tutorial. Oftentimes, it'll just give you the answer, right? So, um, I wanted to make an app that would kind of do both. It would work at making a tutorial, and based on kind of the theme of, if you remember, code.org, it's really based on code.org. You have the short little bite-sized levels up at the top that you can work through. And um, at the end, you're going to either build a project or learn something. And I even made these little challenge lessons now that those are in there now. So you probably saw me working through these. We had a couple different iterations of this. I was sort of doing it manually before, but I actually got an app to do it automatically. Um, would you like to see kind of how this is made? I'll show you. Let me put this over here. All right, so this is what a lesson looks like. You see it's in Markdown. Got the H1, right? Oh, shoot. Don't want to do that. You have a H1, and that's the name of the whole thing. You can see. Oh, there it is. And if you go to it's over there. That's the name of the whole thing. And then over here, there's the little mini lessons, or in code.org, they're called levels. You can pop over there. What are those? In Markdown, those are going to be just H2s. And inside, it's just the info that you need. Just regular Markdown, and you can put like backticks, and these backticks are for code or for like a pre-tag. That's like the pre, right? See if it's that. And that translates over, I'm going to undo that because this is the Markdown version. That translates over to, where's the architecture? This is in the very beginning. Here. Ah, here. That translates over to something like that, like a pre-tag. It's a little, um, um, it's also used for code snippets too. You look in here, this has the code snippets. And you can actually use this kind of thing in your READMEs. So if you look over to it, you can, if you want to have it be a JavaScript one, I'll show you one JavaScript. It's a triple, these are called fences. And if you put .js, triple tick .js, it's a markdown thing. It'll actually highlight your code. I think that works in your READMEs as well. You put in a README. So that works for this one too. And you remember the show me's from code.org? I got those working too. So how does that work? All it is it looks for an H3 with a show me, and it translates that into a little thing that you can stow away. But the most interesting thing, not just converting a Markdown, you could kind of manually do this. Um, you can manually do this, but what is neat about Markdown is what ChatGPT spits out or Gemini spits out. So if you go to Gemini, I'll just use Gemini as an example. Teach me how to um, build a simple route in Express. So if I do something like that, it's going to spit out this, but did you know that's actually Markdown? So this is gives me those things. If I copy that, that's actually Markdown, and I can, oh, I don't know, I can make a lesson for that. Uh, and this is like a simple root.md. And let me see, is that going to work? It won't exactly work right because these have to be, I'd have to update that. Those have to be double um, instead of, those are H2s and these need to be H2s and instead of H3s. But if I just delete those and then I make this 1, 2, 3, and that's a little bit annoying. I'll show you. Kind of cool. Hopefully that's going to work. But if I save that, I gotta update one more thing. Update this. And this is going to be called simple route in Express. Oh, what did I call it? Simple route. Oh, come on. There we go. So that should be, I lost it. That's what I want. And simple routes in Express.js. Okay, that should work. It's not going to deploy, but it's going to be in my dev here. So if I do that and I reload and, oh, there it is. Look at that. Oh, there's something wrong with the Markdown. Let me see. Maybe this and something here. Oops, that should be a 1. I bet that'll work. Nope, it didn't work either. Come on. Simple written express. Mm, Maybe that has to be the exact thing. Try one more time. Oh, let me try one more time. Uh, I don't know. But anyway, you get the idea. It's supposed to pop up as a lesson. It would have been nice if that had worked. Lug. Everybody know what lug means? Instead of a number, you can use a slug, and the slug is that, like in your database, you'd have like one or two or something. So if you have a slug, you can have something like something nice. Let's see if everything else is working. Yeah, everything else is working. There may be some kind of the problem with this markdown. Okay, anyway, so once you have this idea that you can get markdown and convert it into a cool little lesson, um, you can go to the main page, and the main page looks like this. And if you want to help me, do you have an idea for what you'd like to learn? And it can try to create a lesson for you. So we can do this on the fly. You want to type something in or just give me an idea. What should we learn? And if you go to the main page, dev lessons, if you go to the main one here, let's see, any idea? Anything you're stuck on? Um, how about this one? This is one. I got it. Um, oh, destructuring. Yeah, that would be a good one. I had another idea was we could do destructuring, and the other one was testing with super test. So um, how how do I destructure an object in JS? Oh, I have to sign in. Hang on. Sign in, and you should be able to sign in. Okay, and it runs through a bunch of things. I have a whole bunch of different prompts that it runs through, and I just try to mimic the process that I go through when I try to develop a lesson. Here we go. And this is actually using OpenAI's GPT to do this. Uh, it's going to format it. So that last stage is the formatter. So that's what was wrong with this. It wasn't formatted right somehow. Oh, are you going to do it? Sometimes one of them takes a long time. Let's hope it doesn't fail on us. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, it did it. Look at that. So it gave us 7. Look at that. Okay. Oh, it's still going. Okay, there, it's saved it. All right, look at that. A lesson. And I will give it to you, and you want to try it. Oh, I gotta is it private? Can I not? No, no. Oh, public. Okay, good. Cool. All right. And then there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna share this with you. And that should work. If I go here, that's gonna come in. Yeah. And I don't know how good it is, but it might be, you know, um, yeah, this might work. Give that a try and um, feel free to ask it questions. There's a limit to number of questions you can ask it, but if you hit the limit, I can add you more tokens. Um, add more tokens for you. So gives you some. Uh, one thing I don't like about it is it gives you all the the answers. But if you don't mind that, and you can think of your own experiments to do. Yeah, this gets a little bit deep to renaming variables. Let me do one more. How do I test a simple root in Express with super test? I'm signed out. This is my, let me see. Do it one more time. Run it. Yeah, let's give that a try. Okay, so we'll let that cook and we'll see what comes out. It's going faster than last time. Oh, it's really blasting through this. And another time I may show you how I'm building it. So I'm building it with the AI. Go over here. There's this thing in Replit. Um, you can do it in VS Code 2. I'd like to show you how to do it. But I interact with it over here and I tell it what to do. So you can see, oh, it had an issue here, and I'm like trying to explain to help. I could show you a blocker that I had as I was building it. So over here, how do I build it? You can see. Oh, here's something that I put in. Look at that. Add a puzzle icon to navigation when the title includes puzzle. This is a feature that I just added just 3 hours ago, you can see. So as an architect, this wasn't there before. But if you go to the Boris, little Boris, dev, I added a puzzle type. So if there's puzzle in the title, it's going to have a little puzzle icon. You see that puzzle icon over here and over here? So all I had to do was I asked it, and I think I told it it worked. And there's kind of a strategy to it that you learn. You learn that like if you um, if you know what it's doing, so you have to know what it's doing. You can't just ask random things. If you ask some random thing and it doesn't really jive with what's actually happening in the code, it can like work for 20 minutes and give you something that's not really great. But if you know, okay, this is kind of an easy thing to do, and I'd already set it up to have a lightning bolt in there. I just wanted to add a puzzle too. You can see this one went really quick. So this did, I guess it did it in 2 minutes. But some of them take like 20 minutes. And you can see it has a cost. It shows you the cost there too. And here's one that was tricky. This was one of my blockers. It had this red background, and there was something in the CSS that was kind of messing it up. And you can see this one, 12 seconds, and then he worked for 7 seconds. No, this is the planning part. So the planning is pretty fast. He worked for 1 minute there. And he kept messing it up. You can see it's still red, it's still red, it's still red. See how long he took here. Just 1 minute. So it kind of adds up. But at the end of the day, the problem was a conflict between the CSS library and the chart. Um, So if you don't know what it's doing, my point is if you don't know what it's doing, it can really mess up fast. And I've tried a few times, and um, sometimes you just have to throw it away and start over if it gets too, I guess I would say, uh, if you go down the wrong path. But if you do understand what's happening in the code and you know and you can give it just bite-sized sort of instructions to move on, it can go really fast and give you a really nice result. So I'm really happy with this result. All right. So there's my little presentation about my app here. I hope you like it. Any questions? We'll see.
No questions, but I definitely do like this more than code.org. Um, I mean, I like code.org, but I like that is your lesson that I'm doing, and it's tech like tailored to what we doing in class and stuff like that. So it's been I like and I like the steps and how it's broken down throughout, and it's very helpful for me, like with really understanding what I'm doing, and then it gives like a little bit of like background to what you're doing, like a little bit of instruction. It gives you instruction. It doesn't give you too much instruction, but you also, have an opportunity to learn why am I doing this.
Hmm.
So,
And yeah, and one thing that I do is I try to do it in the order that I would do it. And like I said, if you just ask ChatGPT, it'll go just from top to bottom. But that's not how you code as a human. You don't code from top to bottom. You try a little thing and test it out. You put in a console log, you put in a test, you put in fake stuff in first, and then you just keep iterating and iterating, right? So I try to show you this is how I would do. That's how I would do it. Let me see. Oh, here's the lesson that we were. Let me open it for you. And I just made this. I don't even know if this one's good. What I do when I give it to you, I actually don't use. Um, I have to um, go over uh, the markdown quite a few times, and I say add this, add that. You know, um, for example, the well, actually, um, for example, this simple root here. Let me actually ask it to fix it. So copy file. So I know this should work, but I just don't know how. So I'm going to say, can you fix the markdown to work with our parser? And I'm going to give it that. And let's see what it does. And you also be able to see this is going to cost me a little bit of money. I'm going to guess like maybe 50 cents. But I subscribe to it, so it fills up free first. Once you get to a certain point, it actually costs you extra. So let's see. It's gonna do a little bit here. Okay, and it's gonna think for a little while. Um, I added that here as well. You can, if you go to not dev mode, but if you want to look at, if you make a lesson, you go over here and you can actually edit the lesson. Okay, this one here, right? You can actually edit the lesson as a whole, and you can see the breakdown. I thought I added the cost here. Maybe that's not here. Oh, it's just a toast. The toast is disappeared. But you can actually make another suggestion in here to change it. Say, oh, I don't want to. Um, well, we look at the final result. Where's the final result? Look at the final result. there. And we'll see if we'd like it or not. So we create a project, goes through creating a project, initialize. And let's say maybe I want those to be in a single level instead of two levels. I could tell it to do that. Let's see. Mm, 1, 2, and 3. So you can try to figure out what is it thinking about. Maybe these are two, this is what I'm kind of going through. Maybe these are too easy. They should just be in one level so we can get to the real stuff. So you can ask it. Let's see, I believe it's going to be over in here. Create directory one. Yeah, this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Those were those three levels here. So it gives the three levels, and I say consolidate levels 1 through 3 to a setup. Add a um challenge level at the end with something something more difficult or something like that. So let's see if it's going to be smart enough to figure that out. Okay. Oh, and then I have to accept it. All right. And then it'll run through it and it'll fix it. So kind of working together. Um, and as I do this, I sort of think about like what's our role with the AI, you know? Because like if you look at this, it's like, oh man, like this would take me like a bunch of weeks to do it, but AI can do it by itself. And you could kind of get depressed about that, right? But on the other hand, it's like if you understand the steps, like if you actually understand what the AI is doing, you can actually start to use it as a tool and um, you can make your skills actually more useful. So like if you know, this is a React app, and so you know that each one of these is a component, right? And if you could, well, let me see. Could go back to the old idea. Remember in the very beginning we had this like, let's find a component. Like the whole thing is a component, right? The whole thing is oh, I want the other kind of drawing. Okay. The whole thing is a component, and then this is a component, and then this is a component, right? And then this is going to be a component, and then that component changes. This component over here changes. So if you know that, um, you can tell the AI how to go about building it, and you know what's easy to change and what's not easy to change. Like the way I did it is first I created the top one, I think, and then I asked it to create the side one. And so once it created the top one, I knew, oh, that's just another component. It could create the side one. So just knowing how the things are built, um, and knowing that that's a component, and if you want to, you can actually look at them. They're fairly well written. They do get pretty complicated, but you can see. And, oh no, that's in page, I think. That's my scramble lesson. View lesson, I think. And you can see. Oh no, actually that one is the Markdown renderer. That one's over here. What's that one? Learn mode. Here's learn mode. Oh, here's my is challenge and so forth. Is puzzle. Those. And let's see, we can find, let's see the learn mode. Learn mode. Okay, here it is. So that's the actual component. And you can see it has all the props here. And it has the use state, right? And like the sidebar, okay, and the index. And what's the active index? Can you guess what that's doing? That state, right? That's being kept there. So if you know all these things, yeah. So if you're able to kind of understand more or less what it's doing and what it's thinking, you can move really fast without it, uh, without confusing it. There are a couple of times when like I said, had to start over if because I had thought it was thinking one thing. Thought it was doing something one way, but it was actually doing it another under the hood. And I had to kind of dig into it and kind of align what I was thinking with it. Otherwise, like I said, it'll think for 20 minutes and then give you a bunch of garbage. So if you know how to build an app, you're able to um, like cooperate with the AI a lot better. So yeah, this is the first time I've made an app, like a real app that I think is like useful with an AI. So and most of it is written by the AI. So I didn't have to do it, but I had to like know what was going on. Oh, okay, there's the navigation, right? There's a handle. Oh, look at that one. We can understand that one, handle. And this is let me erase that. This makes sense, right? Handle navigate. What do you think that is? We need an on click, right? So set sidebar close, set active index. That's all stuff that makes sense to us. So if we understand what it's doing, we can kind of think of what we would add, and then it just can add it so much faster. I just want to show you this. We're going to learn this next week. This is TypeScript. That colon, that's a new syntax that we're going to be learning next week. This tells you that this function, see that's a function. That's this makes a function, right? Thumbs up if that makes sense. That's a function, right? And next week, we're going to be able to do this and say, well, this has to be a number. And if it's not a number, it will be an error. And that's a new bit of syntax that was added. That's called TypeScript. It's an addition to JavaScript. But anyway, that will be useful for like for your database because databases have different types, string, number, so it can check for you and make sure you don't mess anything up. Yeah. So this is all TS rather than JS. Yeah. So it's got all this stuff and yeah, that. Oh, there it is. The handle navigate, right? On click. Oh, and look at this one. If it's active or not, it has a ternary. But since it's a machine, it has like many ternaries, so this is really hard to read. But you can sort of get the idea. Oh, there's a second ternary in here. Oh, okay. Oh no, this is the icon. Yeah, I didn't actually realize. That's pretty cool. Just one line of code adds that icon. Learn mode button has icon, and it just shows the icon somehow. Okay. Yeah, so if you want to try, Um, try it out. I'm going to try to improve it over time and try to make it behave more like me, right? Try to make it think more like the way I want it to think. Um, and that's going to take a lot of work on the AI side of things. Like, you want to see what the AI is actually doing. It's in server agents, and you may remember. Here, tell me if this looks familiar. Remember something like that? Where is it? That. It looked something like that, but it was Hugging Face and not OpenAI. Something like this, and that content. We put the content here. Oh, come on. I'm gonna hold still here. Yeah, tell me if you remember this. Kind of a long time ago. Should be right. Oh, there it is. Yeah. You should probably remember. Should probably remember at least that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
level two capstone. Mhm.
that's when I think Dylan had he had his chatbot respond back in like pirate, like a pirate in a way
Yeah.
or something.
So instead of pirate, what I'm doing is I'm saying you are it tells them the job. Like you don't talk like pirate. Your job is to break down a learner's technical question into a list of actionable project steps, and it tells you the guidelines, and it says here's the learner's question, right? So it is like a whole bunch. So that's the first step, and then it goes to the next step, and then it says what your job is to get all the steps, and it goes through a bunch of steps. So it goes through this and it uses that out. It's like a chain, kind of like that promise chain. In fact, it would be exactly a promise chain. See if I can go over here.
So when you set it up, you set it up with those prompts already. You put those in there yourself, or you or the AI came up with that part, and you kind of like
I
changed.
gave a I gave it an outline and then it wrote most of it, but I told it what to do. So like output format, all that kind of stuff is what it was doing. And I had to like go back and forth a whole bunch of times. But I gave it the initial like 7 or 9 steps as like just writing it down as like a list. And then it does stuff like this. Important. You must create exactly, you know. Oh, I told it to add this in as well later on, but it wrote this by itself in like output format. Um, so there's certain ways if you interact with a AI and you want it and you need it to do something, you have to put important in front of it. And there's all these little tricks to that. And the AI knows how to do that itself because it's trained on that.
That's super cool.
So if you have like if you have a particular output format that you want, you can say like output format that, and it'll do it exactly how you want. You could even tell it to do JSON output. It does do that. Although um, I was, I want to, it takes more tokens. It has to think more for that, so it's more expensive. And it become like basically stupider because it's spending all its smartness on that rather than just doing it as Markdown. And let's see if I can find the lesson chain. And there's a rewrite. Home prompt. the pipeline. Where's my pipeline? And it kind of keeps rewriting itself. Um, where's the start stage? This looks promising. Yeah, this is it. Here's the chain. Here's a run pipeline with progress. And this is the function that it calls. So it just does a console log. And then what it does is it runs the function and it takes the return value. So this was like turn the user's question into a series of steps, right? And then it takes, and these are the steps. So it does that, and then it goes to the AI and it asks it for that information. And then it takes that and it awaits that into a chain and it logs it out. Okay. And then it takes the steps, right? This is the steps. The output, it puts it into the input and it finds all the skills you need. Things. Okay, what are the skills? And over here, it takes the steps and the skills. Where is it? The await. I'm looking for the await. The skill. I guess it just takes the skills. Where are the steps? Here are the skills, and it gets the structure. And then it has the steps. Where are the steps and the skills? Oh, maybe this is, it has the steps, but it has annotated steps. Oh, the structure is with the skills. Okay, yeah. So the structure, so the skills goes into the structure, and those are like this. Oh, there's steps. Okay, yeah. So it just gets a list of skills. Honestly, I'm not sure what the structure was. I forgot. I might be able to, if I figure that out, I might even be able to improve it. But the structure is the skills. So it takes the structure, which is the skills, takes the skills and the steps, and it mixes the skills with the steps. So you learn skills along with the steps of the project. And then it asks it to make a draft. And then it asks it to um, do the do the markdown, that special markdown that I showed you. It has to have an H2 for each section, for each level, and all the bunch of different rules that I have. Um, and then it spits it out. So what it's using is it's using this a framework called LangChain. Let me do the JS version. This is some really cool stuff here. And it's using that, and it's called an agent. And this helps you to um, work with, I don't know, work with your AI. Um, the nice thing about it, sort of like Hugging Face, you can interact with any of the big ones. So, an example. Oh, hey, look, a get weather. Um, so it does sort of kind of get the agent.invoke thing here. Hmm, actually, I told it to use LangChain, but I think it may have switched out under me. It doesn't look like it's using LangChain. Hmm. Yeah, it's not using LangChain at all. Oh, that's right. I told it to switch to GPT-5 and it must have just changed. Oh yeah, okay. It just changed it. Yeah, it worked for a long time on that one too. Yeah, that's probably one of the things. I wasn't paying attention. It worked for like 20 minutes, I remember. And so it's probably swapping. I told it to use OpenAI and it took me literally. And it swapped out this LangChain framework to the new OpenAI framework. And so if you're not paying attention to what you're doing, it can cost you. But it ended up still working. Yeah, and this is way too long. I need to consolidate that. All right, I guess we'll take a break and we can just keep working on the, let me see. Let me make this public. Oh, this is the new one. We can keep working. We don't have to work on this one, but I'll share this with you. You can see the new one. This is the new improved one with all the setup in one file, and then with a little challenge. So if you remember, those were the little additions I made to it, and it created a new one, a new and improved one. Um, Maybe when we come back, we can either work as a do a little work on your own, or we can um, we can look at some of this some more stuff here. Um, right, let's take a break. All right. Pause. I'm gonna pause. Pause the recording. Hit record. All right. So we're back, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time going over this lesson. So this is the lesson that we had, and I made a few little additions to it. So the numbering might be a little bit off. I added these puzzle lessons. So I hope you like these puzzle lessons. It's a new feature for Boris the Professor. And I got it. I got it from code.org, the idea. Um, so basically, oh no. Haha. It stopped working. That's supposed to be a scramble block. Let me see if the other one's working. There we go. This scramble block is. Oh no, the scramble block stopped working. Oh well, doesn't work. I added the scramble block. Hopefully, by the time you get this to this recording, the scramble block is going to work. So what it is um, our um, our microservice is basically a Express app with one root. And what I have here is a bunch of steps. And the way it's supposed to work is you're supposed to be able to pull them up and down and put them back into order. So why don't we do one here? If I do, which one do you think is the first one? And then what about the first and second? Let's do first and second. What do you think? Yeah, so there's C, that's the first one. And the second one is a little bit tricky. Yeah, it should be G. And so D would be the distractor because it's not a post. Actually, you know what? That may be a that may be an AI error too, that because I was adding that. That should be actually um param, right, instead of query. Because I had query before. You see how it should be param? Ah, yeah, there should be a question mark. I need to fix that anyway. So anyway, the point is you're supposed to unscramble them. Yeah. Um, I kind of rushed this out. So I guess that's what you get when you're developing an app and using it at the same time. But anyway, the other ones are going to be the same, just up one. So they're going to be up a step. Also, I added another thing. Oh, here's the destructuring that you're talking about. That's a challenge. So you can see it's a challenge here. Um, and I don't give you the answer for the challenge. Um, I added lessons 16 and 17 because I think this is going to help you a little bit. So over here, we built the URL and we build a dynamic URL. Um, but next, it gives you this giant weather object. And what are you supposed to do with the weather object? Maybe you can give me a thumbs up if you want to talk about the weather object. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Because we didn't talk about that before. We could talk about it on Thursday when there's a, oh, okay, here's this. What I mean by the weather object, unraveling the weather object. You have a whole bunch of stuff here. And what are you supposed to get out of this? Right? Does that make sense? So these two, oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't sharing my whole screen. Let me do it again. Let's share the whole desktop. So this whole weather object, when you when you go to Visual Crossing, you get this whole big weather object and all this stuff. How do we extract the data we need, right? And I give you two lessons here, or two levels here, or these two. Unravel the weather object. And in this one, you just grab the first the first object, even though it's not the right date, and you get what you need, like temperature. And you can choose what you want, like percept probability. Or, a good one is like conditions. Okay, so that's this one. And then this one, instead of getting just day 0, because in 16, you're just going to get the first day. That means today. You're going to try to use that filter or kind of a reduce, something like that. So here we have this. So say we have a bunch of days. How do we get the right day, right? Can we think of an algorithm to get the right day? So we have an array of days, and this may be something we can talk about on Thursday, because that's a tricky one. That's a little puzzle. Thumbs up if this sort of makes sense. It's something that we need to work on. Um, let's see. So that's what we're gonna do. You're gonna have an array of day objects, and then you can go through each of them, and you got to find the one that matches your day. And there's more than one way to do it. You could do it as a loop, or you could use with the built-in array, like remember filter. You could do either way. Um, I like to I like for you to practice the loop because it makes um, it's more kind of more explicit and it's a good practice. But you can also use the array dot something like array dot filter, array dot find, those kind of things. So I'm not going to give you the code hint here. So this is something that this is a bit of a challenge. We can talk about. I think we'll spend some time on Thursday if people get to this one, or maybe Friday. All right. So that's all I've added. Yeah, so you'll probably be up there. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions up to there. Yeah, see, I was using query and then I switched it over. All right, so um, I did add a little warm up to go with this challenge. Clay may be interested in this challenge, this in-memory cache. So we might need to chat with about that. And a neat thing here is at the end, there's a vocabulary list. So now that I have these informational ones, you can kind of navigate a little bit better. So um, maybe I'll show you this one. This one's pretty cool. You can see this is going to be our REST API going to our microservice, going to fetch the weather, and coming back. And our API also goes to our database. All right, that's at the end. Um, Let me pause here and let's see if people have individual questions. Let me stop our recording. Or if you have questions about this, we can keep recording, but otherwise, but individual questions.